Apple pie. Is there anything better in the entire world? If you have a food processor, use it to make the pie crust. Basically this is flour, plain flour, cold butter, frozen can even work, but very cold butter, cubed. We're going to add that to the food processor, and then we're going to use the dough blade just to pulse this until it looks a little bit like sand. Get some ice cold water, and we're going to add up to 8 tablespoons to the pie crust. For this particular one, I think I added 6, but you'll just have to do it, use the pulse function, and then see how it turns out. If it's a little dry, add a little extra water. If it's a little wet, you've gone too far. Add a little flour. Remove the pie crust to a clean work surface, and then push this together into a smooth ball. We're going to move this into the refrigerator once we've wrapped it in cling film or plastic wrap. I like to separate mine into 2 so that I can keep one in the fridge while I'm making one of the crusts. This does roll out really well when it's cold. So wrap them in some cling wrap and then place them in the refrigerator, and you can do this for a couple of days ahead of time. It doesn't have to be a short amount of time. Now this is the next day. As you can tell, I've got a different shirt on. We're going to cut up our apples, so just peel some apples. I like to use a mixture in my pie, so we're going to have some Granny Smith, and we've also got some, these were Gala apples, work really well, but Honeycrisp, any number of good baking apples will work. But the mixture does work well. We don't want them too tart, so all Granny Smith tends to be a little bit on the tart side. Remove the core from the apples, and then we're going to slice each one into 3 or 4 thin slices. Once we have all of our apple slices into a saucepan, we're going to just drizzle in a little bit of water. I'm going to just do this by eye, but I'd say, 3 tablespoons of water. I'm going to add some corn flour or cornstarch, depending on where you're from, some cinnamon, some sugar, and a little bit of nutmeg. Mix it all up, and then we're just going to give this a little bit of a warm through. Some people like to use this mixture cold straight into the pie. I always find the pie comes out a lot better if you put it in when the mixture is warm. Flour your work surface and then unwrap one of the 2 pie crusts that you put in the fridge. We're going to roll this out. Put some flour on your rolling pin on your hands, and I'm going to roll this out nice and flat. Now it is cold, so it'll just take a little while to get this to come out, but what we're looking for is something around 1/4 of an inch in thickness. So roll it out nice and flat, just like this. Use the rolling pin to roll the pie crust onto, and then we're going to use the rolling pin again to put the pie crust over your pie dish, just like so. Press down the pie crust, just like this. Then we're going to use a knife just to trim off any excess. The excess can be stored back into some cling foil and actually put in the freezer, and then you can use that on another small pie or maybe some other dessert that you're using in the future. Once the apples have softened a little bit and all of the sugars have melted, transfer the pie filling over into the pie, just like so, and then smooth it out a little bit. Move on and start on the top pie crust, same as the first one. Roll it out, put it on the rolling pin, and then roll it over the top of the apple pie, just like so. You can move the pie crust around and then use a knife just to trim off that excess once again, but make sure you leave enough there so that you can actually crimp the bottom crust to the top crust, just like so. There's a number of different ways of doing this. I like to actually just fold it over like this. You can use the thumb and 2-finger technique to crimp it. I always find this works fairly well, and you don't get a lot of spillage this way. Brush the top of the pie with 1 beaten egg, just like so. This gives the pie a nice golden finish when it comes out of the oven. Now, just so the pie doesn't explode in your oven, cut some vent holes in the top. You can use whatever pattern you want. I like to just use a simple X on the top and then put some longer slits down the middle of the X's, just like so. Sprinkle the top with a little sugar. This is, maybe a teaspoon amount, just over the top, just like so. pop it in the oven on a foil-lined baking sheet and bake. Now that looks wonderful. Slice out a piece and top with your favorite ice cream. We always use vanilla, and it is delicious. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe for our future videos.